Yeah! Looks like a race car.
So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know that my biggest thing is y'all learning from my mistakes as I learn. And today I realized that I made a mistake on the Love, and that's that the bedsides are not square to the cab. They sit kind of cockeyed like this, and so today I'm going to pull the bedsides off, cut all the structure out, and start preparing for new mount. Now at this point in time, I really want to take the time, do things right, which means getting the laser out, getting the square out, measuring 40 times instead of twice, and getting the truck looking a little bit better and making the bedsides be able to be removable, which makes working on the truck in the end so much easier. So I'm gonna get to taking the bedsides off. Somehow stripped the bolt, and so I'm gonna cut it because I don't even have to reuse these, so not really worried about missing a button head Allen. Alright, so as you can see, there's like these mounts. I don't know if you can really see behind the roll cage, but there's these, and then there's ones in the back that look like a toothpick house on the frame. So I think I might leave these front ones just for now so that I have a place to hang the front of the bedside, just so I can have it in air and then tap it to the cab itself using some like 1-inch strips of steel. But I'm going to go ahead and cut off the lower ones and the whole rear structure, which is like a lot.
Yeah!
Alright, so I got all of the original mounts cut off, and now I'm going to go ahead and swap out this cutoff wheel for a flap disc and get to grinding, which is the most time consuming part, which sucks, but has to be done because the chassis has to be pretty, has to be prepped for the new mounts. But she looks kind of cool with no bedsides on. I mean, looks like a race car. So now that I have everything cut off and everything ground down besides the front ones, which I'll use to help me mock up the front of the bedsides, I'm gonna go through and use some of this Gibbs and some like heavy duty Scotch-Brite to go ahead and clean up the chassis, just get all the surface rust off of it. And because it'll be probably sitting outside during the day, it'll protect it from the elements and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray some of this Gibbs on it and get to, I guess, sanding, I guess you would say. Sanding away. So the chassis is now clean and weatherproof. I also went through and used some like quick mist and kind of cleaned off all of the control arms and things like that. Now I'm going to start planning how I want to go ahead with figuring out how to make the bed level, how to make the bed sides equal from side to side. So I think that I'm gonna head to metal supermarkets, go buy some thin wall 1x1 tubing, square tubing, and get it to where it's the dimensions I need and weld that to the bed sides, to where I can then play around with where exactly the bed lands, get a laser out, figure out where level is, and things like that. So far, it's going good. I thought that cutting everything apart would have taken me longer, but it's kind of hard to restart and do something that you've already done again. And I know that that might happen a lot on projects, but just know that it's for the best. You know, you mess something up in the beginning, you're gonna learn from it. What you can learn from me right now is that make sure you take the time and don't rush things. And make sure that you like what you're building, make sure you like the look of it, make sure it's equal, make sure it's even, and just don't do what I did, or try not to. Sometimes it's inevitable, but just try not to. So after I was able to get the chassis all ground down and clean, I'm heading over to metal supermarkets to go pick up some thin wall 1x1 tubing to make a temporary structure to hold the bed sides square to each other and square to the cab, to where I can then mock everything up, get everything situated to then start designing and building the new mounting system and brackets for the bed sides to actually pin onto. So I'm gonna go into metal supermarkets real quick. Luckily they're only right down the street from Dusseldorf, so I am gonna go run in, grab some 1x1, and then meet you guys back at the shop to start cutting and tacking together the bed sides to one another to get them all square to the cab and square to each other. So my camera died partway through that last clip, but I have still been getting to work on the truck, getting everything level. As you can tell, I put in this temporary support and just teed it to the chassis, along with adding these little tickets, as I call them, just to hold the bedside at the front exactly where I want it. And now, as it sits, this bedside is at 000, which is perfect. And then this back bar is sitting at 0.20. I can't tell if you can tell that. That's just because this is actually tacked like 1/8 of an inch lower than that side. And then over here, this bedside is being all wonky, and I can't get it to perfect angle. So we're at 0.55 right now. If I kind of jiggle this around, pull up on it some, it's now saying 0.60. So I got to figure out what's wrong with that side, figure out why the two sides aren't level, and then after that, make sure all the bracing is all good, and then I can get to making the new mounts. So super excited to get the bed sides back on it. It's looking like a normal truck again. It's kind of hard to tell, but the bed sides are now dead even to the body on each side, which is something that was kind of annoying me because you would look down the side of the truck and you could tell that the whole bed was like cockeyed to the cab. So getting super excited, going to finish up this side and then probably call the video there. Then in the next one, I will show you guys how I build the mounts exactly. But this video is mainly about figuring out how to make the bedsides level to one another. So just make sure that the front two corners match the rear two, and then I picked a dam point off the chassis, which was right behind this bar, measured from there up to this corner, where I got both side to side being 26 and a quarter. So I knew that the bedsides were square to the chassis, and I know the cab is square to the chassis. So if all of them are square to each other, then it's perfect.